Well, hello there, everyone. My name is Catherine. I am your friendly neighborhood paranormal investigator, and welcome back to my channel. If you happen to follow me on TikTok, which if you don't, that's totally fine, but you should really reconsider, you will know that I recently got to attend the 3-day event known as Pericon, the premier convention for paranormal enthusiasts everywhere. While I was there, I had the privilege to meet some of the biggest names in paranormal entertainment, like Project Fear, Ghost Hunters, Kindred Spirits. I got to talk to them, take pictures with them. I got to meet other paranormal enthusiasts and even some fans while I was there. There were Q&As, vendors, and we had the ability to explore the grounds of which the convention was being held, which was Pennhurst State School and Hospital, which has absolutely earned the title as one of the most haunted places in the whole state of Pennsylvania. Now, the convention experience as a whole was amazing. I did get to do a lot of different things, but the highlight for me that was included with my ticket was a 4-hour free roam investigation of Pennhurst itself, with an opening of the Quaker building, which up until that point had not been accessed by people in a very long time. And I recorded the entire investigation in a live stream. But if there are some of you out there that have no idea what Pennhurst is, what its reputation is, or anything about its history, I thought that would be a great place for us to start the Pennhurst series. And real quick, because this would be a great time for me to interrupt, this is going to be a multi-part series. If you do not want to miss a second of that investigation, the evidence, or the conversation that we're going to have about this place specifically, you should consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. And now that we got that out of the way, let's chat a little bit. So Pennhurst is actually referred to as the Great Shame of Pennsylvania. It was designed to be a home, and I use that term very, very loosely, for people who had disabilities. And in the simplest way to explain it, people were left there to live their lives, to be forgotten, and barely did they get enough care to even survive or have any semblance of a life. And to put the timeline of its existence into perspective, there are people who were put there who were still alive today. There are people who worked there who were still alive today. Its presence still echoes in the disabled community. And while I will be getting into quite a bit of history in this video, I am also going to have resources and links in the description box for you to learn more about it, as well as to support the communities that it directly affected. So from there, let's get into some history.
With authorization from the Pennsylvania legislature, the construction of Pennhurst was approved in 1903, but not as an institution for mental illness as it is commonly thought, but as a place to house and care for those with disabilities and epilepsy. It was designed to be a complete, self-sustaining campus with the ability to provide essential services and specialized care needed for those admitted. Designations were made for growth, with the minimum capacity starting at 500 patients and room for adjustment as population demanded. By 1908, the Eastern State Institution for the Feeble-Minded and Epileptic completed its first 9 buildings, with its very first patient arriving in November of that same year. Even with the incomplete records due to theft and damage, we do have that man's name, Harry Morton Smith, dubbed Patient 1 in his file. By 1912, after just 4 years after opening its doors, the facility was overcrowded. Pressure mounted for the facility to expand its admission even further, moving away from its stated mission as America was embroiled in the wave of the eugenics movement. Demands were made to intake immigrants, orphans, criminals, those who had nowhere else to go, those that no one wanted to have within society. Nestled in the distant hills of Spring City, with its own power plant and food sources, no need to leave the campus since the train came right to the site, it became the ideal location to bring people to be forgotten, to remove what many referred to as undesirable. Thus, a screening process was implemented. Regardless of condition or circumstance of your arrival, you would be screened under the same parameters under 3 key points. There was the mental categories, where you would either be labeled an imbecile or insane, one of 2 physical categories of epileptic or healthy, and one of 3 dental categories of good, poor, or treated teeth. These parameters would determine your ward, your building, your likelihood of having any semblance of a life within this abysmal place. By 1913, the Commission for the Care of Feeble-Minded was appointed. Their conclusion upon what they were charged was that people with developmental disabilities were unfit for citizenship, and that they posed a menace to the peace, and it was in their words that they recommended custodial care to keep them from society permanently. And subsequently, laws were created to disallow anyone not deemed suitable, normal to the societal standard, to be seen in public. Thus, Pennhurst morphed into a symbol of incarceration, and as the years pressed on, it deteriorated further. More buildings were added in an attempt to quell the constant overcrowding, but with over 250 applications coming in every year, it never ended. There was little to no visitors. Staffing needs were never met, so residents were then called to assist in care and maintenance. They helped feed, clothe, medicate, tend to gardens, handle laundry, clean, all with no compensation or ability to refuse. Many died of exhaustion due to this. Both doctors and nurses took their liberties on how they dealt with who were now being referred to as inmates. There were many forms of grotesque abuse taking place from both administration and residents. Restraints were used often. Many were drugged into complacency. Many were confined to their beds, unable to move, only listening to the world going by till it was their turn in line. And this is just a small glimpse into the suffering within those buildings. The average stay in Pennhurst was 35 years. The average age was 62. There were many cries to go home, but there was nowhere to go because they were not allowed to go anywhere else. Pennhurst was home. This hell on earth was all they knew and all they were allowed to have. This continued well into the 60s. But then, in 1968, Bill Baldini visited Pennhurst campus. Through his 5-part docuseries, he showed the conditions of the people that were hidden on Crab Hill in Spring City, Pennsylvania. It was called Suffer the Little Children. In it, he calls attention to the callousness of Dr. Fear and the abuse perpetuated by some staff. He spoke to the people living there, asking them how they were and what they wanted. Children were left in cages. People sat in their own excrement for days. Punishment was handed out by their own doctor. Many just wanted to go home. Many had been there for a very long time. Many of those on staff willingly helped with the stories to get the word out. Baldini worked tirelessly to write, film, and produce the series until he could no longer speak to narrate the final episode. In his own words, "We ship them 25 miles out of town to a state-operated institution and forget them while they decay in neglect." Things began to stir from there. In 1968, Dr. Jesse Fear was suspended for 30 days after an investigation was conducted on his comments in the documentary. In 1971, PARC versus the Commonwealth was brought to the courts, where the fight began to allow access for those with intellectual disabilities to attend school, as so many of them did not have the opportunity, being instead institutionalized at school age. The case was resolved in 1972 with Access 1 and a decree that all children with intellectual disabilities had the right to attend public school. In 1973, Soderton versus Brennan put an end to the advantage taken on those with disabilities who were put to unpaid work, something that was a regular practice to offset costs of operation. In 1974, we had Halderman versus Pennhurst, the landmark civil rights case that was brought to the court by a parent of a Pennhurst resident who had been forcibly institutionalized. In 1979, we saw the Pennhurst longitudinal study, showing that those being moved from the community are better off in every way we know how to measure. Though 60% of the residents' families opposed this, just 6 months later, more than 80% of those same families agreed. It was Pennhurst's fault. In 1983, 9 former and current aides of Pennhurst were indicted on charges of beating and abusing patients. And finally, in 1985, a settlement was approved for the case of Halderman versus Pennhurst. The facility would close. And Roland Johnson, a resident of Pennhurst for 13 years, became instrumental in the final fight to close its doors. Becoming president of the national group of Speaking for Ourselves, he advocated for the release of those who had been institutionalized and fought for the closure of many state-run institutions across the country. His impassioned speeches rose awareness to the experience that he and others like him had endured, and it was with his efforts that finally, in 1987, the last patient left Pennhurst State School and Hospital, and it shuttered its doors after 69 years of horror.
After it closed, it was essentially left to rot. A lot of the original archives and files have been lost, and at this time, its newest owner and the staff that are working there are trying really hard to preserve what's left of the buildings that exist on that campus. As a resident of Pennsylvania, you hear the stories about Pennhurst, you hear that it was just absolutely terrible, but going there, taking the history tour, hearing the historian tell you about the things that happened within it with the information that they have, because they're missing so much of it, it's not the same. The heartbreak of parents being forced to put their children there. The fact that it had limited visitation. Nobody really came there to see anybody. That there was in fact a lot of staff there that really cared about these people, but they were so tired and overworked. It was so difficult for them to do their job. And how a lot of those staff that are still living come back to Pennhurst to give tours and talk about their experience. And then the staff that work their grounds themselves take very great care in the people that are still remaining there. I took a lot of time to talk to many different staff members about not only their experiences, but how they handle the people that come in and out all the time. They have a lot of rules. You are expected that when you go there, you are kind and you are respectful. They remind you on the tour to treat them like people, which I will be honest, for a well-known paranormal location, that was a really amazing thing to hear, because a lot of people go to places like this and they don't think about how they're interacting with the people or treating them like people. They want them to just do something for them. They also corrected a lot of records of what other people have perpetuated about the place specifically, and were very helpful in guiding people on how to handle the things that they were receiving through investigative equipment, such as hearing noises like growls and snarls. It's not an evil spirit, it's somebody that had the inability to be able to use their own words. Playful tugging and poking. If they don't want you around, they will let you know and you need to go. I would say on that standpoint of going in and trying to have a conversation, it was very refreshing. And while there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, they really are trying to do the best that they can. But there is and always will be more work that needs to be done. So now that you understand Pennhurst and what it is, let's talk about how the night went. I had a lot of first-time experiences going there. I approached this investigation in a completely different way. Not only was I trying to communicate, but I was helping others around me who didn't know how to do it as well. And overall, I think it was a pretty successful and eye-opening experience. So with that, let's dive in to the investigation at Pennhurst, Part 1. Please sit back and enjoy. When we're gonna move on, I will definitely let you know. It's called Phasmabox, Phasmabox. Phasmabox. You can find it online and it's like $20. PC only, works really well. So let's do this. I'm gonna flip the camera. I'm gonna set you up first. Let me fix you. Flip the camera. And there you go. We're gonna put this over here. This is my speaker. This is my recorder. And let's see. Oh, look, I dropped it and it stopped working. Isn't that so convenient? All right, let's lean this up a little bit. It looks so pretty. Let's get, okay. I don't know what God you believe in, but pray this opens the first time. Because it might not, I don't know, we'll see. So this, what you're seeing, this is my hand. What you're seeing here is a grid, and laser grids are made so that spirits can walk through them and it'll register when that happens, like that. That's what we're looking for. This is actually the first time I've been able to practically use this because I'm usually outside. Oh, no, Discord. You are not what I asked for. Please stop. There we go. Phasmabox. Let's see what's going on. I'm sorry, I talk a lot. I apologize. We're always explaining and we're always educating and talking, and me just getting angry that my computer is so slow. Do the thing, please. You know what also? I lost my headphones too, because my headphones were in that pocket. Somebody took it, I swear. Somebody took it. They were in my bag last I saw in the hall, and then they weren't. I don't know. You didn't pry hard enough because it didn't open. Oh, you saw something. Be advised that if you see things that look like they're twinkling, there is dust in the air. So it might make it look like the light is dancing or moving, but it's dust. Keep the fact that we have dust in mind. We're really looking for this. This is what we're looking for. And if you have anything, if you see anything, shout it out, and then I can review it later. I can still see the chat. Oh, sweet goodness gracious. Will this app please load? This makes me look so unprofessional when this does this to me every time. Remember, guys, if you watch this live, if you feel uncomfortable at any point in time, all you have to do is take a deep breath, close it out, and then come back when you're feeling a little more centered. Oh my God, Discord, will you stop? As I'm waiting for this to show up. If, Jillian, if you would like, while I'm trying to get this thing to start working, because it's being a pain, if you want to start by initiating the question process and just, be like, how are you, what's going on, stuff like that, so we can start initiating connection, and then eventually this will work.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name's Jillian. I would love it if you could tell us your name. We just want to talk. We don't mean any harm. There's some really fun cat balls up there. They're little toys. I'm sure you know what they do if you want to play with one. There's some cookies up there as well. If you want to grab one of those are there for you. A little treat. I hope you're familiar with them.
I whispered, sorry guys. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually do something a little more fortuitous. I'm going to take one of these and put it there. So if they do decide that I almost walked right into that. My eyes. All right, we are ready. Okay, Latin off, good. That's what we want.
If it just started speaking Latin,
that's happened to me. That has happened to me before. So let's see what happens. Let me turn it up just a second. So in a way, this is gonna sound like it's gonna sound a little, what is that? That's a speaker. This is my computer. And when you speak, it picks you up. Is this a little too much for you guys? There's people. Yes, there's a lot of people. Are you comfortable? Are you okay? You are welcome.
That's insane.
Do you like to hang out down? Do you like to hang out down here specifically? Well, that got really funny. Say something. What they say?
Do you like when people come to visit you?
Give us food.
There's food?
We've got some cookies over there. You're welcome. They're shortbread. I don't know if you like shortbread, but it's butter, and butter is great.
Do you want us to move them somewhere else?
It sounds like it's in the attic. Does this place have an attic?
I heard bring it up.
Or bring it up could have I have to review it after and cut back noise to see what it comes through with. Thank you for everybody that's here. It's as loud as I can have it.
Do you guys like how many people came to visit you today?
Today was Pericon. People who enjoy the paranormal and spirits and things like that.
It's good. We're celebrating your existence here and giving you space to talk about you, if you would like to. I've got these touch lights around. If you could touch one of them, I think there's one there. And over there. Is the lasers bothering you at all? It sounds so quiet, but it's so loud. Yeah. Is there any place that you would say we should go while we're in this building specifically? I didn't quite catch that. No. What do you like to do down here? Do you like listening to music?
Listeners, you.
Could we play music for you? All the time. What kind of music do you like?
Natural language.
Based on people.
There was feels like a shift, like something shifted really fast. I don't know. It was that voice. It almost sounded more authoritarian, if that makes sense. Right. It sounded, because all the other voices have sounded like that. Yeah. You know, they've sounded more almost youthful, and not that there was a lot of joy here, which is heartbreaking. But that's what they sounded more youthful. And that, did I just say? It sounded like it just said the B word, but I might have misheard that.
Scanning and
that's. Don't worry, that's not scary. Are you trying to say that there is something scary happening? Ghosts. Ghosts.
oh,
Maybe they think we're ghosts. The others. I wonder if the others was a documentary. Like, you have to think they are living in a reality beyond what we know, and we don't know what they're experiencing. So they might think we are intruding. Do you feel like we're intruding on your space? If you do. Someone said you guys go. That's what I heard as well. Can you go? Get out. Would you like us to go somewhere else? I'm happy to go somewhere else. We're here with just respect. If you want us to leave, we will absolutely leave.
Yeah,
get out of here. Okay, I'm out. All right, so. All right. I'm gonna have to recheck that later. I have this habit of hearing my name a lot. Yeah. I don't know why. So why don't? Peggy, is it? Huh? No, my name's Catherine. So okay, it's okay and understandable if you guys want us to head out. So we will move to a different spot, and we'll let you have your space. There's a lot of other people that would love to talk to you, so we'll go somewhere else. We will leave you.
Mr. Helpful.
All right, we're gonna turn this off. So that is Phasmobox. Wow. Yes, that is Phasmobox. And if you want to carry this, we will. I guess I kind of was feeling the one room with the tub. Okay. So if we could go hit that, that'd be great. Well, guys, it's your favorite time of the day. It's cats moving everything all at once. Love that for us. Oh, and then my lights and my stuff. How are
you guys going to the building with the tub?
We walked through, but we haven't actually got up that way
There's
yet.
a lot of activity up in that area. We were here a while back and we got a lot of activity up there.
So I think there's this room that has like showers and a tub that I felt particular about, and I think that's where I want to start back up.